Today, we received a phone that's practically in tatters. Wow, must be someone with deep pockets to wreck a phone worth around 7 to 8,000 like this. The fan explained that his wife's outburst had left him in a cold sweat, but after calming down, he admitted she has it pretty tough. He mentioned that even though her job is exhausting, no matter how late he gets home, there's always a hot meal waiting. When he stumbles in from a night out, there's a warm cup of water ready for him. Before marriage, he'd promised she'd be treated like a princess for life. Instead, she's ended up like a housekeeper. How could she not feel some resentment? This phone contains photos of their child growing up and unsent messages she meant to share with him but never found the time. He hoped we could restore it. Upon disassembling the phone and testing the power supply, pressing the power button showed no current at all. We removed the motherboard to inspect further. The entire thing was deformed, and the shielding cover was deeply dented in several places. It was definitely some heavy-handed damage. We removed the shielding cover's clips and tested the single board on the power meter. No response on startup. Using the multimeter, we checked the motherboard's positive test points, 0 voltage. Checking the power supply line showed normal voltage. Switching the multimeter to diode mode, we tested the motherboard's positive resistance and found it grounded. The motherboard was short-circuited. Luckily, when we powered the motherboard earlier, we used the original battery subboard with a protective chip to prevent the battery from heating up or catching fire. Next, we soldered a copper wire to the motherboard's positive test point and applied direct power. The short circuit indicator immediately appeared. Placing the board under a thermal imager and powering it again showed the shorted area heating up and turning red. After removing the thermal paste, we found that the charging IC underneath was cracked. We removed the broken charging IC with a hot air gun, cleaned up the pads, and installed a brand new IC. Another power test showed no short circuit this time. When we pressed the power button, the current indicated it could start up. We installed the motherboard back into the phone's casing to test. Pressing the power button showed startup, though the cracked screen still couldn't display. We swapped in a confirmed working screen, and after pressing the power button, the logo appeared. Entering the password provided by the fan successfully got us into the system, and luckily, all the data he wanted was intact. We transferred the small parts from the old screen, reassembled all the motherboard components, and tested other functions, Wi-Fi, camera, all normal. However, after inserting the SIM card, we waited with no signal. It seemed there was still an issue, given the phone's severe damage. We advised the fan that repairing just enough to extract data would be best since a complete repair likely wouldn't last. Better to get a new iPhone 16. But the fan replied that he'd already gotten his wife a new iPhone 16 Pro Max. Yet, he still wanted this phone fully repaired as a backup. He said he wanted it as a reminder for himself, so we took the motherboard out again and checked under a microscope. The damage to the signal area was severe, with even a hole punched through the motherboard. Removing the warped shield in the signal area revealed the RFIC was shattered. No wonder there was no signal. Using a hot air gun, we removed the broken RFIC, cleaned the pads, and replaced it with a new one. Reassembled, we tested again. Upon startup, the signal instantly appeared in the top left corner, and calls were working normally. We removed the motherboard once more, reinstalled the shielding cover, put the board back, reassembled all components, and even replaced the back cover with a new one. All done, the phone is fully restored.